Let's go. It's time. Put on pay pants.
All right, welcome in, everybody. This is episode 45. He's Jason Ginty. My name is Rod Ryan. We are recording this on the eve of St. Patrick's Day, and I couldn't be more excited because here in Houston, we are kind of getting back to normal, and for the first time in 2 years, we'll be doing a big St. Patrick's Day blowout. We'll be doing a live broadcast, so that adds all kinds of extra anxiety to me. Just I don't like the whole thing of not being in the studio, so we can get into that a little bit. But we'll talk some St. Patrick's Day. I want to find out what Jason's got going on. For some reason, Jason, you wanted to bring up fucking Tom Brady. Now, I'm having anxiety about broadcasting live, taking the show outside of the studio for the first time in 2 years tomorrow morning. And when we bounce back emails back and forth, he's like, yeah, maybe we should bring up Tom Brady.
Why not? Why not?
Why?
Because I think that I don't give a shit about Tom Brady. I just think it's an interesting thing, like, where we are in our worlds, right? You're a little bit, you're 5, 7, 8, 10 years older than me. So I'm 50. So
dude,
like,
suck a bag of dicks. I'm 2 years older than you.
2 years. I always get that wrong. That's weird. Anyway, at some point we might get down to a place where we could actually retire. And I just was kind of like, I want to roll it into that. I don't give a shit about Tom Brady. I gotta be honest, but it was more of a, hey man, down the road, what you going to do? How you going to do it? When you going to get out, or are you going to be forced out? How's that work? So I kind of wanted to go that way with it. I didn't really give a shit about Tom Brady and his fucking indecision.
All right. Well, we can get into a little bit of that today. We can talk a little Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And because Dolly Parton is in the news, and I think that is a pretty interesting story. I do. Yeah. Big Baldy, Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan having a birthday. And then I don't know. Is it hacky that we're going to do a U2 top 5 on St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah, because 100% hacky. But you know what? Hack seems to win for a lot of radio personalities around our country. Okay. So once in a while, it's okay to go hack, right, Rod? I mean, once in a while, I know that you always pride yourself on not hacking it up. I certainly try to not do the obvious. I try to go one layer a little bit farther away. But I was like, you know what? I don't think we've talked that much about U2 on this podcast. And I'm a fair weather U2 fan. So what the hell? I started digging into this, doing a top 5 for U2. It opened up some more music for me to listen to when this podcast is done, man. I think it's going to be fun talking about you. And St. Patrick's Day is always a great holiday, and I know I want to get into that. And, Rod, I have a quiz for you today. Oh, shit. I got a quiz.
Is this a quiz that's going to happen now, or is this quiz happening at the end of the pod?
Dude, you know how we do it. I got a great quiz coming up after the break.
Oh boy. Thank you, Ryan Seacrest.
Hey man, you got to get people to stick around to this stupid podcast and listen a little bit more than fucking the first 2 minutes.
Well, all right. So let's St. Patrick's Day. So I had some really fun times in New Orleans on St. Patrick's Day. And I remember being in the area, what's called Old Metairie, and I mean, the city, I'm still recovering. My body is still recovering from Mardi Gras. So we go right into St. Patrick's Day, and there were parades all over again. And I seem to remember a parade in Old Metairie that ran, and they would throw cabbage.
Oh, yeah.
Green beads and stuff like that. It certainly wasn't like these big super parades for Mardi Gras. But I remember just cabbage being hummed left and right. And then potatoes and carrots, stuff to make soup, I guess. Does that still happen?
Absolutely. It's insane. There's like 2 big parades that happen. There's a lot of little ones that go around, but you've got a one that runs down like Magazine and part of St. Charles Avenue, the Uptown, they call it the Magazine Street Parade, basically, that ran last week. And then you have the one you're talking about is the Metairie Road Parade. And they're both their own animals, right? They're very similar. Just done a little differently, but there's a shit ton of floats and there's not a whole lot of bands. And what you have is this unbelievable drunken stammer through the streets. Because, Mardi Gras, it's a street party. Well, it's the same thing, only worse, because people are way hammered. I mean, everyone's out there to just get blasted out of their skulls. And then there's the floats, and then you'll get some cars with some like chicks who, sit on the back and wave. But then you got all these dudes in tuxedos, and there's hundreds and hundreds of dudes in tuxedos with these big, almost like an umbrella stick with all these fake flowers on them. And these guys are wasted, stumbling up and down the street, and they walk up to chicks, get a kiss from a girl, you get a flower. So you've got this absolute chaos going down the street. And then you got people on the floats. And you know what it's like to ride on a float. You're drinking, you're partying. Imagine doing it for St. Patrick's Day where you're just pounding beers. So dudes are humming full raw carrots at you. Dude, you ever get hit in the face with a fucking cabbage?
The cabbage is big. I mean, a cabbage is solid. It's not like, lettuce has some air in it.
No, cabbage
is fucking wound tight, man. It's like a huge Super Ball.
It's a fucking
that's
head
coming at you. I mean, it's heavy. It's like bowling ball heavy.
No, like you catch it. You got to take a step back if someone's humming that at you. And there's potatoes flying and there's beads flying and moon pies and shit. It is so much fun. Every year, it is such a fucking blast. But everyone always gets smashed in the face. Someone gets cut. There's somebody crying, and it's awesome because it's such a shit show up and down the street. The Irish Channel here in New Orleans, it's right near the river uptown, a couple blocks back from Magazine Street. And we had a good influx of Irish back in the day. They helped dig all the canals and channels around the area. When I say help, I mean they were forced to.
Right.
So, and then where we grew up in Western New York, there's something called the Erie Canal that goes from the Great Lakes all the way over to like, what is it? Almost down to, it cuts New York State in half, basically. You think I'd know. Dug by mostly the Irish for that. So there's a lot of Irish up in our neck of the woods. So I was going to ask you, Rod, with your last name being a little bit of a sounding Irish, if you ever trace back the lineage back to Ireland at all?
I did a little of that, whatever the leaf is, but
Ancestry or the other one?
Ancestry.com. And then you put in all your information. Dude, once I get to my grandparents, boom, that's it. I mean, there's not a whole lot of talking going on. There's not a lot of communication in my family.
Right.
So I didn't give enough data to get enough help. With my last name, Ryan, we're mostly Polish. We really are. I mean, it sounds a lot more Irish than it is. My dad claimed a little bit more Irish ancestry than he probably needed to. My dad's name was Patrick John Ryan. So that's super Irish sounding.
Wow.
And there's clearly Irish lineage, but it really is. It's a lot of Polish, but what did we do? I mean, my mom made us green mashed potatoes. I mean, we did it corned beef and cabbage. So I didn't like cabbage, but we did eat corned beef in the house, but we ate it 2-3 times a year. But we definitely had corn. My mom would always make corned beef on St. Patrick's Day, and then she put a little food coloring in the mashed potatoes. We ate green mashed potatoes when we were kids.
Well, that's cool. You know what? My house was the corned beef and cabbage, and you knew it. And you know what? I never liked it. I liked the corned beef. I didn't hated the cabbage because when you cook cabbage, it smells like someone took a shit in your living room. Like, how can I eat something that smells like that when I walk in the door?
I was a late in life cabbage eater. I thought it was disgusting when I was a kid. And then I don't know, something happened later in life, but now it's like, it's awesome. I love cabbage, but would not touch it when we were kids.
So St. Patrick's Day, I actually I've been to Dublin a couple of different times for whatever reason. The first time I went on vacation with my wife, and Dublin is cool, man. It's not like you're going to go, like when you go to London or Paris, there's a lot of cool, like Eiffel Towers and Big Ben and that kind of shit to see. Dublin doesn't have a lot of that. There's no really big buildings. It's all very flat, But what they have is the culture of all the pubs and the Guinness and the drinking and the Jameson and all that shit. So it's more of a hang. I mean, there's still stuff to see, but we just went from pub to pub. And I actually was in Dublin, I think it was like 9 or 10 years ago on St. Patrick's Day.
Now, do they care about St. Patrick's Day over there? Is it a big deal for them?
I don't think that, I don't think it used to be as big a deal back, 20, 30 years ago and prior to that. But lately, the last couple of decades, it became more because you got all the tourists from Europe coming over there. So there's this huge parade. Okay. And seeing Mardi Gras, you know how much Mardi Gras blows your mind, right? It's just it's just insane. So they say, hey, they do a big St. Patrick's Day parade on St. Patrick's Day morning. They shut the city down. There's people hanging out of the windows, looking down on the street. It's just awesome. I mean, it's just great. They don't throw shit. That's not their thing. They're not throwing beads and stuff, which is weird for people who go to Mardi Gras and are used to it. To see a parade, nobody throws stuff. It's like, what's the point?
Dude, nobody throws shit at any parades.
And
I mean, there's just one place in the world that throws beads from their parade. Most parades, you just go, you sit and you watch. That's all you do.
Yeah, that's lame. Like, I remember going to Disney one time and I'm like, this parade blows. They're not throwing shit.
Yeah, Disney. Nobody's throwing anything.
Yeah, what's the point of being there? I don't get it. So the one in Dublin, their floats are so like avant-garde and weird and bizarre and just cool as shit. I'm like, wow, somebody who builds floats in New Orleans should come over for this, because this is some insane shit going down the street. Totally cool. Everyone is completely blasted out of their mind. They got this area called the Temple Bar area, which is kind of like I don't want to say Bourbon Street, but it's like the Strip. You know what I mean? Like, that's where everybody goes to get hammered. And there's just pub after pub after pub after pub. And it's very cool. It's not like in your face. You know, they keep it kind of subdued. But man, St. Patrick's Day in Dublin, that is a whole different animal, dude. Completely.
When you describe Dublin, when you describe Ireland, the reason that I haven't gone is because it does seem like it would be more fun as a group to go. I mean, I don't really know, but do you have to drive everywhere?
It depends. I mean, if you like, I just stayed in Dublin. You know, I did like.
See, I'd want to go. I mean, Ireland's not that big. I'd want to be going all over the place. So I view that more of a driving. You know, I didn't drive in Paris. I didn't drive in London. I didn't drive in Rome. But I feel like if I went, and those are cities. So I feel like if I went to Ireland, I don't think I would stay in one city. I feel like I would like try to get around Ireland a little bit. And it seems like it'd be more of a driving type of a holiday.
Yeah, it's a drive. We were only there a couple of days. So we did most of the stuff in Dublin. And then we did take a train ride down for like 2 days down to the southern tip where the Titanic last left, you know, land and all that little town down there, which was really cool. Went down to Cork and all that on the southern tip of Ireland. And just took the train. Stayed a couple nights, then took the train back to Dublin, flew out. Okay. You know? So, but yeah, they say that to drive, you kind of almost do a loop around the whole country, you know, and it's supposed to be absolutely beautiful if you like sheep, you know, and the cliffs and all that stuff. But it's a different sort of European trip, you know, but I highly recommend it. It's fucking bad. And you drink so much Guinness, man, everything tastes like Guinness after a couple of days. It's awesome.
So as we're recording this, St. Patrick's Day is tomorrow. And I got to get up probably an hour earlier. So I'll probably get up about a little after 2:00. I'm going to be downtown Houston at 5 a.m. Show will go live at 5:55. And we have not done a live broadcast outside of the studio in over 2 years. So as a matter of fact, you got to back up to the St. Patrick's Day before that. So, because it's been 3 years.
Wow.
So it's been a long time. And, you know, from doing the show, it's, you know, Jason and I did mornings together. So if I'm running the board and there's just a lot of elements and there's a lot of things that make that show go. And to trust some kid back at Mission Control while I'm standing downtown, you know, you got some kid that trained for 2 hours that's, you know, okay, I can do this. I can help out, you know. It's a little nerve-wracking, but, you know, we'll be able to do it. I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to do all the silliness. We're going to do the gallon challenge tomorrow morning. We're going to do fresh out of bed head-to-head. We'll do a live version of that. We'll do Chubby Leprechaun like we do the Chubby Pumpkin game. I don't know who's coming. Now, the one thing that I created when we did this, when we first started doing this, is I didn't want to broadcast and have nobody there. Because St. Patrick's Day, and I think the first one we did, it was on like a Tuesday or a Monday, the worst days ever, right? I think it was on a Tuesday, which is the least party day ever. So we're going to broadcast live. We're going to be down at Lucky's Pub and all of that stuff. And I'm like, fuck, man, what if when nobody shows up? I always have this. It's the same thing having a house party. I think it's an old Mary Tyler Moore bit. It's an old sitcom, but she was always worried about nobody showing up at her parties. I think that was like one of those underlying stories. I still have that. Yeah. Like, no one's going to come. Shit, I'm doing all this work. No one's going to be there. So I recreated something called the Hardcore 100. And I said, I'll give a T-shirt to the first 100 people that come. And hopefully that will be a little incentive. So people did show up. They lined up. I number the shirts 1 through 100. So the printer hates me. I got to make 100 shirts, but each one's got to be numbered individually. They also have to mix up the sizes. They can't do 1 through 25 mediums and then larges and then extra larges. They got to mix up the sizes because people are going to be different size in line.
Right.
So that became its own little thing, the hardcore 100. Then people started showing up, at 2 a.m. Then the next year, somebody showed up at 8 o'clock at night and spent the night out there.
What?
Dude, I've had a guy, Adon, has been out there since Monday, wants the first hardcore 100 shirt. Adon has been living it's not even, we're not doing it at Lucky's Pub. There is no Lucky's Pub here anymore. So we're building a whole little mini Dublin in downtown Houston across from Minute Maid Park. This kid's got nowhere to go to the bathroom. He's got nowhere to go to eat. He's got nothing. He's got to walk 3 blocks to the nearest whatever. He's living outside so that he can get the number 1 shirt. He just sent me an email. As we're recording now, it's almost 7:30 at night. He sent me an email at about 6:30. A chick finally came out there. Number 2 is in line with him. He finally has some company out there. He's been out there for 3 days, bro.
Oh, shit.
So we can get, and he's had the number 1 shirt before. So he wanted to do it. He said he wanted to do it one more time. There was a couple of years ago, Juan was the guy that was in line. And Juan was, he wouldn't mind me saying this. He was a chubbier guy. He wasn't fat. He was just a chubbier dude. And the shirt that they made for the Hardcore 100 for number 1, it was a medium. Well, fuck, Juan wanted that shirt. Okay. So Juan's wearing this, his belly's hanging out. It's a belly shirt now. It's a belly shirt. And he became number 1 and he wore that thing so proudly. And that dude got the first shirt at 5. We start passing them out about 5 o'clock in the morning. Gates open at 5:55, about 10 to 6. Juan came in, number one. He sent me a photograph that night at 2 o'clock in the morning. The dude stayed all day. He was taking selfies with everybody. He was so famous.
Oh my God.
The Hardcore 100, they're celebrities. There's going to be a couple thousand people out there. No, Jason, I don't make them green shirts. Okay. I want to see my Hardcore 100.
Right.
So these are bright orange shirts. I've done yellow before.
Nice.
These are going to be bright orange shirts. So they're going to stand out. Everyone, they're like celebrities, bro. People want to take selfies with the Hardcore 100 people. And it's always fun to see, okay, when did the first one drop? I think number 18 was done at 7:30 a couple of years ago.
In the morning.
They walked him out. He was in the teens, bro. 7:30. It wasn't 8 o'clock. And they said, okay, this guy's got to go. He was already that gone. You put in all that time.
Oh my God. That's cool though. What a great idea. I love that, man. And then, so like, I would assume if you had a way, you should, hopefully you got your boy's number down there, who's number 1. You call him up and like, when we're done and go, how many people are out there? Cause there's gonna be like 10. And then like, obviously when you get there in the morning at like 4 or 5, like you said, there's going to be a line, right?
Oh no, all 100 people will be in line. By then, all 100 people will be in line by 5 o'clock. I would imagine that if you wanted a Hardcore 100 shirt, you would probably have to be there. If you want a Hardcore 100 shirt, you'll have to be in line at 4 o'clock.
Oh,
that's 2 hours ahead of time.
Wow.
To get a Hardcore 100 t-shirt. But they get treated like celebrities. Everybody knows them. You know exactly who that person is. So if they're number 30 and it's like, hey, you're walking around like, hey man, I was at the bar, man. I saw number 27. 27 was at the bar. I was talking to 27 today. It's awesome. That's so awesome. Cool, dude.
That's so cool.
So I'm looking forward to it. So that's going to be happening tomorrow. That crazy milk drinking contest has just never, I can never not do it. It's just the thing that people call about. They're like, I'm drinking the milk this year, Rod. I know I can do it. It's a gallon. It's a gallon of ice cold whole milk, a little bit of green food coloring in it, I often talk about the year that we did it and Pierre did it on stage with us. I think at one of the anniversary shows or something.
Yeah, and he barfed.
And Pierre worked for us and he worked with us. And for some reason, he wanted to do the milk contest. And I remember talking to him later on that afternoon. He was destroyed. That milk destroys you.
Yeah, it's not good.
I remember him telling me that he was wrecked the whole day. He didn't win. And then he cut a white turd later that day. So he said, dude, I absolutely carved a pure white turd from your stupid contest. I said, dude, I didn't make you do it.
That's true. Oh, dude, we used to do we did it a couple times in the studio where we had fucking dudes, you know how many eggs they could eat based on the Paul Newman bid in Cool Hand Luke. Remember that?
Yes.
Which on paper we're like, this is going to be fucking great until people start throwing up rotten ass eggs that have been in their guts.
Yeah. Cool Hand Luke till you puke or something like that.
We did. It stunk so bad in that studio, dude. It stunk so. I'm like, okay, that's it. No, this barf. And then I had such a weak ass stomach, man. I had to sit on the other side of that and try not to be a bitch about it and try. Cause if you fucking show any weakness, everyone pounds on you in that studio.
Right.
And then it stunk so bad. I'm like, as soon as these guys start heaving, I'm like sitting in the corners going, I'm like, oh God, please don't barf. I can't believe I never fucking puked and all that shit.
I know everybody doesn't like it. It's like we play we play this game. Who's chewing those chips? If there's a new chip out, everybody on the show comes in and they chew in the microphone, and you got to guess who's chewing. And there's people. Jessica, for the whole time she was on the show, like she cannot stand listening to people chew. The sound of chewing, and I know that it's a tune out for people. So I play that game only once in a while. The milk drink, I think the sound of somebody barfing on the radio is the funniest thing in the world. I really do. I've never outgrown it. I'm 52 years old. I'm going to be laughing my balls off tomorrow because we've all been there before. Yep. But I don't have that gag thing when I hear somebody barf. It's funny to me. It doesn't make me sick. The smell I could do without, but it's still, I'm fine with that. It's just hearing somebody heaving on the radio. I just can't imagine driving into work in the morning. Okay. You're hearing, I mean, it's going to be wild. Tomorrow morning is going to be wild.
Oh yeah. It'd be
but just when they barf, it's just it's a chowder fountain that's coming out of them. And I know that people have to turn off the radio. I don't care. It's just so much fun. It's so much fun seeing these guys puke. And you're all taking bets on who's going to barf and who's looking like they're going to barf. It's my favorite thing in the world. It's never not going to be my favorite thing. I'm going to laugh at farts my entire life. Yeah. And I'm going to laugh when guys are barfing milk on the radio.
And what's really cool is after doing those contests on the show all the time, is you start to see how people barf in certain ways. Like some people are really like loud and freaking. It's brutal sounding. It's almost like sounds like a murder.
And it's violent. It's violent. Sometimes that milk wants to get out real fast. Rapidly.
And then like chicks, I remember there's a couple chicks who would do it and you never knew they were barfing. They were just like, I'm like, what the fuck is that? How are you barfing like that? Like I'm just crying and dying. I don't want to do that. So yeah. Good luck with a barfing tomorrow on the radio program, dude. That sounds.
I'm excited. I'm super excited. And again, I imagine at some point they'll try to talk me out of doing it. I'm never going to not do it. So, all right. Well, St. Patrick's Day again. Mardi Gras, we got BuzzFest here in Houston. It's just these getting back together things. I don't even want to talk about this new fucking variant that I'm hearing about. I don't care. I don't want to talk about it. This is not the forum for that. No. I'm ready to party tomorrow. So, okay, I'll bite on your hook over there. You said Tom Brady, unretired. 40 days. He packed one kid lunch and said, fuck this, I'm out of here, okay? He spent 40 days with Giselle, kids climbing around all over the place. He's like, that's it. I want to play again. That was it. I mean, we're convinced that that's what the deal was. He saw the gas prices, I got to work. All the jokes, all the memes. I get all that. I don't want to say that I knew he wasn't going to retire, but I thought maybe he was going to go back to the Patriots. and
Interesting.
and go one more year with Belichick. I have no idea nor do I care what his relationship is with Belichick. I wouldn't piss on either one of them if they were on fire. But I think he just saw that the AFC is just wide open. And I think he said, okay, I think I can do this. I think we can do this one more time. There were some stories following all the Buffalo Bills Mafia stuff that, and I don't know if it was just wishful thinking from people in Western New York. People are kind of split on Gronkowski. He had a cheap shot in a game a couple years ago, and people will never forget that. It was a really, really bad cheap shot where he just went diving in on a dude that was already on the ground. So some people are going to hate him forever for that. But Rob Gronkowski is the greatest tight end of all time. He's from Buffalo. He's from Amherst. I would love him and I do love him. He's like the only Patriot that I like. Yeah. I would love him in a Bills uniform. But I think with Brady coming back, I think Gronkowski would go and play with him one more year.
Absolutely. I don't think, in fact, I just was reading as we were waiting to get going that the Bills actually signed a different tight end from Tampa. So I don't think Gronk is going to
really?
Buffalo. Yeah. I just saw that like 5 minutes ago. So
I saw we signed Von Miller. Did you see that?
Yeah, our defense got roached against Kansas City for the second time in a row. So probably a good idea to get some more defense shored up. Our offense seems to be working just fine. You know,
Von Miller, $120 million, 6 years. Shit, I don't know if that guy's got 6 years, but I don't know where they're getting that kind of money.
Yeah, well, you're all in now because, you know, your windows closed pretty quick. So they're looking, okay, we've made it pretty far 2 years in a row. Okay, let's cash in our chips. We're all in now. This is the year the Bills are all in next year.
You got one more shot. You got one more shot. I mean, how many years do you think you can get to the AFC Championship game and not push it through to get to the Super Bowl? So you got to just find like those missing pieces.
This is it. This will be their last shot, at least for now. And then with the Tom Brady thing, unretiring, like you just like, I don't think that money would be motivation for him at this point. I really don't. And I don't think it matters to him. The money doesn't. Does he want to win another Super Bowl? Of course. Did he see all of a sudden everything lining up like, hey, in the NFC South where the Saints and the Falcons and the Panthers are at, there's nobody. So I can walk through that division and I'm already in the playoffs.
Right.
You know? So maybe we could go win another one. Or, you know, was it like Giselle's like, dude, you're a pain in the ass, get out. You know what I mean? Or like what did he realize, and I'm sure he's smarter than this, that without him playing football, he doesn't have the same forum every week. You know what I mean? And he's got the TB12 and all his shit he's trying to push and all these different things, these products he's going to push. As soon as you walk away from football, you start to lose that heat on your star power, even though he's always going to have great star power, you know? So I can't figure out why he would come back to just go take another beating.
I don't see him again. He's the greatest quarterback of all time. I'll say it. There you go. I hate him. He's not a real dynamic guy. So I don't see him going into the booth. He's not Peyton Manning.
No.
Peyton Manning can do anything. I really do. I think Peyton Manning can do anything. If you ever watched any of those broadcasts, I think Eli is a bit of a wet towel, but I don't see, because Tom Brady's not as silly as the Mannings are.
Right.
I don't see him being a broadcast guy. He seems a little stiff for me. Now that we're talking about it, I don't want to piss off everybody in New Orleans, but I shared this with Jessica. Drew Brees might be my third favorite football player of all time. He does not deserve to be at the level that he's at in the broadcast world. He's not that good. He's just not that good, dude.
But what they do is
he's not awesome.
But he's got the heat coming off the field, right? You got your white hot when you retire, right?
I know,
right.
But he's just not.
And he tries.
He needed to be in the booth. He needed to be in the booth on a team for a couple of years, and then maybe. But being bumped up to that main table right there with Mike Tirico and stuff, it's just I'm not feeling it. And I love the guy, Yeah. I'm not feeling him as being one of their A-team guys.
No, go out and do all the games on the C-level, NFL games. Go do the Jaguars versus the Browns game. You know what I mean?
Like with Ian Eagle for a while.
Right. That's where you got to start. Him. That's where you got to start, man. But so like when it comes down to it, and Tom Brady left, he had one of the greatest seasons he ever had. I mean, so like you left, you still had juice in the tank. So why did you decide to leave? You know what I mean? Like I can't figure the dude out. So that brought me around, because enough about Tom Brady. Who gives a shit about the guy? He's going to be okay, I think, financially. And his wife's a supermodel. There's got to be an end game for everybody. So when do I know a lot of people, you put in your 25, 30 years, you turn 60 or 65, you're out, right? That's for a lot of people. You've got your retirement kind of set up. You always saw it coming. You get your 401ks, you're doing your thing. For a guy like you, for a guy like me who work in or people in bands, or, like, when do you see you later? You know what I mean? When do you go, it's enough of this 4 a.m. shit, or this is enough of this talking every day, or that's enough of this shit, or
right.
Like, how do you come to that decision? If, in our business, you actually get to make that decision for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, how do you do it? Because the money's always nice. The perks are great, and you love what you do. I'm putting you in Tom Brady's shoes, basically, because you do it every day,
Yeah, I don't know. I've got this year and next year on my contract. I'm real honest with my team. I said, if they don't come to me this year, then I don't call it a problem. I just say, then I think they might be looking for a different direction. If they don't come to me in every years past, they never wanted me to go into my last year without having an extended contract.
Right.
So it was always taken care of on the second to last year. Now it's March. I haven't said anything to anybody. Nobody has said anything to me. I don't know. I don't know. If I was showing up every day, if I was mailing it in every morning, if I was just sick of what I was doing and it showed, then I could see the writing on the wall. But I don't see that right now. But who knows, man? Radio's always changing. I mean, that's the one thing that we don't know is, with the future of radio, all I know is that where I work and the time that I work, I know how much money that day part makes. I know how much our company wants us to send back to them. Nobody likes talking about this stuff because they don't want to talk about radio as a business. But, right. All those commercials and stuff, that's what pays our salaries. And we're doing good. So I don't know. If it ended a year and a half from now, I'd be okay, but I don't think I want it to.
Right.
That would suck. You know what would suck? And I think a lot of these guys do this, is that would suck that my kid would not really ever know me on the radio, because she would be 5. I would be done. She's not going to have a whole lot of memory of that. That would kind of stink. And I think some of these guys, I think Phil Collins was talking about that recently when he goes out and he's playing. He's like, yeah, my kids really didn't know me as a rock star. They didn't know what I did. So then I think that was one of his motivators. And
right.
Rock stars can always come back when you got that great catalog, but radio, if you're out, you're out. There's no really coming back. There's no like, hey, I'm going to come out of retirement. Well, yeah. Well, where are you going to go, old man? Who's going to take you?
Right.
If you don't have that market equity built in, and if there's not somebody that would, want me in the cities that I've worked in, who knows? I don't know, dude.
Or it's
I don't
weird.
know. I don't stress out about it for some reason. I think I should be, and I don't. I don't even think about it. That's the absolute truth too. People do ask, hey, dude, how long you want to do this for? I'm like, I don't know.
Forever.
Fucking, it's fun. It's fun. The hours suck. Blah blah blah. I never bitch about the hours anymore. You clearly cannot complain about getting up in the morning if you've made a decision to do the morning show.
Yeah.
You can't complain about it.
No.
So I don't get up and feel amazing at 3:20. I'm like, shit, every day. Shit, 3:20, it sucks. But you can't complain about that if you've made that decision. So it's never about getting up. That's over with. People always think about what I do, and anybody that does a morning show, they constantly think about, geez, you got to get up so early. After a while, you kind of get used to it.
Right. Your body
you
gets
kind of
used to
get used to it.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I wasn't just a little bit tired. It's just the way. And I think that just probably comes with being older too.
Right. Although the age gets to you. But, someone asked me one time, I said, would you ever, you don't have like a normal job, dude. Like I got a bunch of jobs that I do. I have a bunch of different things I do. When will you retire? Like, when will you slow down? When will you do this? And I'm like, I don't really plan on ever stopping doing something. You know what I mean? Like, I will continue to do a podcast. If that keeps going, I'll keep doing it because I like doing it. It's fun. As long as people listen to it, I'm good. I'm cool with it. I'll keep doing this until we're 200 years old. We'll be sitting here hunched over and IVs dripping out of our arms.
Yeah,
and shit.
I can't imagine being retired.
No.
I can't. I mean, my dad struggled with it. My dad died young. He was 62 and he was only retired for 6 months and he was miserable. Okay. And my dad worked a lot. He worked his ass off and worked all the extra overtime he could. He was an animal like that. He didn't take vacations. He worked. That's all he knew. And I'm not saying that was good, but if there were shifts on, he worked. Right. He was a single guy. My parents split a long time ago, so he never remarried. He just worked all the time. And he retired and he fucking hated it. I mean, he hated it. And he just felt like he lost his purpose. He's 62. And then I feel right at the end there, he started to do some things. He was thinking about a couple of he was looking forward to it. And then an untimely death. And he was just starting, he ordered a Corvette and did the whole thing. And then he dies, suddenly of a heart attack. And I feel like even in that last month, maybe he felt a little bit more comfortable in his skin being retired, but he never really, I don't think he ever enjoyed it though.
It's weird because
what do you mean? You don't have to work. You can do whatever you want. He could have gone anywhere he wanted. He had all the money in the world and that was it.
You just get in that cycle though. It's what you do. You have to find something else. I see so many people retire and then they get miserable. Like, hey, I'm going to move to the South. I'm going to buy a house. And then they're like, you see them a year later. Hey, how's it going? I'm bored. I'm bored out of my mind. I can't stand my wife now because I spend 24/7 with her. You know what I mean? Like you see all these new problems arise. You think, I'm going to ride out the retirement, man. Not me, man. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep doing shit. I don't know what it'll be down the road, but I will certainly keep doing shit. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I can't blame Tom Brady for coming back. It's like, okay, you know what? Like you said, he had his best season probably statistically ever.
Yeah.
Okay, then he wants to play.
Let him.
Like I said, he packed one lunch and said, fuck this.
Yeah, he's like, what's a mop, dude? I'm not doing that. It's like, you climb off of Giselle after 6 or 7 times, probably gets old. Probably gets real old hitting that.
Tom Brady did not know where the Swiffers were in his house. As soon as he got shown the closet where the Swiffers were, he's like, I'm Tom Brady. I'm not Swiffering. I'm not using the Bono on the hardwood floors over here. I'm not doing it.
What is this Roomba thing doing, chasing me around the damn house in my bunny slippers, man? This is bullshit. Get me out of here. Give me a football or something. But you know what? You remember, I don't know if you saw the documentary. There was one that was about Ozzy after the No More tour. He kind of quit for a while, went to England, chilled out with his kids. And for like 6 months, he was okay with it. But then like even the kids came on when they were older and said, yeah, dad didn't know what the fuck to do with himself, man. He was
no rock stars are ever retiring.
I
will not even entertain them in this discussion as far as rock stars. None of them are retiring. It's just not happening. No. Okay. No More tour was it was in the 90s,
early 90s. Because
it was in the 90s where he said that was it.
Yep.
It's like your ass hurts if you say you're going to be done. I mean, obviously the most laughable thing is probably Kiss, who have been wrapping it up since 2000. Motley Crue signed contracts that they weren't going to play together, or they weren't, they wouldn't play. They just weren't going to get back together. Let's sign all these contracts. You got sucked into it. You went to one of those, last shows ever. Yep. And they got back together. I'm trying to think of a band that said we're going to quit and we're not going to get back together, and we haven't gotten back together. And
REM just wrote a note to the fans and said, that's it. We're done. We did it. We did our thing and we loved it. Thank you for everything. We're done. They haven't done shit since. That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
And they walked away. They said, you know what?
But they didn't do like a we're done tour. It's just they kind of stopped.
Just stopped.
Yeah, they just kind of stopped. You're right. That was weird.
Yeah.
Slayer did a final tour 2 years ago, and it'll be interesting to see if they come back, because it was billed as this is the last time you're going to see Slayer. Right. That's what kind of chaps my ass is when somebody says, we talked about this with David Lee Roth, when he was doing those shows in Las Vegas and people were spending all that money on the aftermarket for those, everybody wanted to be at that last David Lee Roth show. And then he added extra shows.
Not cool.
Don't get sucked into, thinking that this is the last time you're going to see a band. How many people went to go see Motley Crue the day after you did in Los Angeles, thinking that they were at the very, very last Motley Crue show ever?
And people travel for that kind of shit too. They're going to spend a lot
from all over the world. They probably came in for that show.
Yeah, you're kind of a dick when you do something like that, man.
But then, going back to Tom Brady, there's that dipshit that bought that football. That was Tom Brady's last football, his last touchdown pass. He pays $500,000 for it, right? It's the last touchdown ball that Tom Brady's ever going to throw. He's retired. I'm going to put my money in this. $500,000. What an investment. The greatest quarterback of all time. Tick, 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 tick. A week later, after the dude buys that football, Tom Brady says he's coming out of retirement. That ball, they said it wasn't worth $50,000 from $500,000. Now, if you're spending $500,000, you probably have more money than that. Rarely when somebody buys a big ticket item like that, they spend every penny on it that they own. God. So I don't care how rich you are, to invest and your investment drop from $500,000 to $50,000 in a day, that stinks. But yeah, I'm not buying any band retiring ever.
No, never. No. And this dude who bought that football is that first game. He's like, somebody snap that fucker's legs, because then the value of that ball will shoot through the roof, man. He's praying that Tom Brady gets murdered in the first quarter of that first game back, dude.
Yeah, his arm gets chopped off or something, and that's it.
Anything. He gets thrown in a wood chip or whatever, man. That's what that dude wants to do, man. So, Rod, you saw that thing with Dolly Parton, which I thought was interesting. We talked about her a couple weeks ago when she got nominated to go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We're like, at this point, okay, she's a rock star in her own way. I know she's country, but the term rock star kind of is all encompassing these days with that someone like her. And then she just wrote this amazing letter that only Dolly Parton could probably get away with, and everyone loves her for it. She's like, nah, I'm good. No, thanks. I'm out. She walks away. It's awesome.
I love that she's recognizing that rock is a genre and she's not in it.
Right.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has totally sold out and added all these other genres. I mean, I've talked to you about this before, and I said, you know what? Put Garth Brooks in there. Why not? I mean, Johnny Cash is in there. Waylon Jennings is in there. I forgot. There's a couple of other guys that are like kind of really known as country guys that are in there. So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame did this to themselves. They started opening it up. They never changed the name. They want to be cool. They want to sell tickets to that show, and they want to somehow stay relevant. And that's fine. I think they got a little greedy by bringing in all these other formats, genres. It's not rock. It's not rock. I had no problem because of what they've been doing. I had no problem with Dolly Parton going in. It's unfucking believably great what Dolly did and said, you know what? If I write a rock and roll album, then maybe down the road, I'd love to maybe have me back, but I'm going to have to decline right now. And I love everything about that woman. She is unbelievable. She deserves to be in every single Hall of Fame there is.
Yeah, the Baseball Hall of Fame. Put her in. Put her in the baseball. Send her up to Canton for the football.
The Saline Hall of Fame. Put her in all of them.
Whatever. Put them in all, man. Yeah, I thought that was
like
awesome.
That she stood up for what she believes. And, she's got every accolade out there already just about anyway.
She does shit.
I really think she kind of stuck it to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a little bit. And I loved it.
Yeah, because they were counting on all those Dolly Parton fans, which there's bazillions of them, tuning in to watch the broadcast because it's about the ratings and asses and seats. That's what they're tuning in for. And then they're also all the publicity that leads up to the ceremony. I mean, that's what they want. They want the heat on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to sell ultimately tickets to the actual museum in Cleveland. But like, you know, you asked me 10 years ago, I'd have been like, the fuck is Dolly Parton doing even nominated, you know? But now because it's so splintered and just everywhere, I was like, cool, Dolly Parton's in. At this point, you know what I say last time, what is it, like 2032, that Taylor Swift will be allowed to go in. That'll be her first year of eligibility. She's going in. It's
of
all,
course, you know
Britney
why?
Spears
Because
is going in. It's all
she opened
happen.
the show last year.
Right. Oh no.
That was the biggest FU right there. Here I am. I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I do watch that. When they package it up, I'm ready to go. I watch it. And fucking Taylor Swift's come walking out. And I'm like, okay, that's it. This thing is so watered down. They're trying to just paint with the widest paintbrush possible. And they're just trying. You really do have to make it the Music Hall of Fame. That's the only thing that I get upset about anymore. Yep. That's it. I don't care who the fuck's in there. Just go ahead. I mean, Slim Whitman, I don't care. Call him up if he's still around.
I think he's dead.
Put them all in there. It's the Music Hall of Fame.
Right.
For some reason, that's the thing that still creases me.
Yeah. Well, you're calling it one thing, and then it's kind of everywhere. But then they try to get their weird definitions, like, well, rock and roll is a little bit of everything. It's like, shut up. It's not. I mean, there's influence of country and rock and roll. We get it. There's influences of blues and rock and roll. Yeah, I know, but that doesn't mean that Madonna should be in there.
You ruined it. You ruined it for somebody like Chuck Berry. You ruined it. That place, Chuck Berry, that's it. That was the guy, okay? There you have it. That's rock and roll, okay?
Simple.
You ruined it. You watered it down, and then boom, now you're letting all these other people in these different genres of music, which I like. Like I said, Eminem, okay, in the Music Hall of Fame, of course, you know, in the Rap Hall of Fame, sure.
Yep.
You know, why can't we have different things? But that's coming from somebody that's old as balls. And the biggest thing about younger people than both of us is younger people do not care about genres of music.
No.
Because they have everything at their fingertips. I mean, it was a big deal. When I was young, it's like you had to either like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, or you like Journey and REO Speedwagon. You couldn't hang out with each other. You couldn't just, there was no like, hey, let's just all hang out. No, man. No, dude. We don't, you're a Journey, man. I'm an Iron Maiden dude. We don't hang out.
No.
It's not like that anymore. It's not like that. There are no lines in the sand. Kids like everything. So I'm okay with everybody going in. I love what Dolly did though.
She's awesome. She's awesome. And then you sent this. Billy Corgan turns 55 this week. 55 years old, Smashing Pumpkins. And then obviously, did they eventually make it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Are the Smashing Pumpkins worthy of being in there?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I concur.
They got some catching up to do because of what they've done. And they've added, once they do start letting in Garth Brooks, then they're going to have to play catch up on all this other shit. And it's going to hurt guys like rock and roll people that should be in already. It's going to hurt them because it's so watered down right now. I think they're in a bit of a panic mode, to be honest with you. I really do, because they're going to have to play catch up on all these different genres to try to keep up on everything. And the Pop-Tarts are coming, okay? Before Taylor Swift, Britney Spears is going to be ready. And you give me one good reason why Britney Spears shouldn't be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well,
you can't.
You can't. Not now. 10 years ago, I'd been like, hell no, that doesn't make any sense, dude. But
right.
Then, you know, Madonna's in there. So then here comes everybody. I mean, is New Kids on the Block future Hall of Fame members, or one of those NSYNC bands, one of those goofy
Backstreet Boys, NSYNC? Yeah, I think they end up going in. I do.
So
I think they end up going in.
Then it's the Music Hall of Fame. That's what it is. It absolutely is. Then at that point, you're just going to go see all your favorite bands. That's all it is, man. It doesn't matter what music you like. They're in there. Okay, we're good. Because that's all it's going to be down the road, man. I don't know. Smashing Pumpkins totally deserve it. In fact, I kind of shocked because they've been eligible for a while. They've never really been talked about either. You know, no one brings up, oh yeah, Smashing Pumpkins, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It doesn't come up. You know, it really doesn't.
There's still a few travesties that are going on right now. Motley Crue, not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, is ridiculous.
At this point,
Absolutely ridiculous
right.
that Motley Crue's not in there. Jane's Addiction.
Absolutely.
Perry Farrell almost invented the term alternative music. He came up with Lollapalooza. He kicked in the door before Nirvana blew the door off the hinges. They opened the door, You've already got bands like The Cure and some of these bands that were really like kind of groundbreaking early on in the alternative scene. But man, Jane's Addiction is just such a weird hybrid band that they were doing it when it wasn't being talked about.
Right.
They were doing it long before Nirvana. And, tell me somebody that hasn't been influenced by Jane's Addiction. If you've come from that era, you were influenced by Jane's Addiction. And I think they always throw that around, that being an influential artist is important. It doesn't just go by album sales, because fucking Nickelback sold 50 million albums. Okay.
Yeah.
If it goes by stats, okay. If all you need to do in Major League Baseball is get that 3,000 hits, doesn't matter if you played 25 years. If you get that 3,000 hits, you get in. It's not like that. So it's not the album sales. There's other things. And they talk about influence. Jane's Addiction. But I mean, Motley Crue influenced, they influenced on the Hollywood Strip.
Everybody
It's
was
just
copying.
insane.
I mean, influence. I mean, they're kind of guilty of bringing about the hair bands a lot more. Without Motley Crue, there's none of those bad hair bands from the late 80s, unfortunately or fortunately. When the Foo Fighters got inducted in the ceremony, Taylor Hawkins, the drummer for the Foo Fighters, he said, yeah, I'm up here now, but man, Jane's Addiction. He mentioned a couple others. I think he said Soundgarden, but he definitely said Jane's Addiction. And Jane's Addiction, I'm shocked they're not in there, because they're like a critic's darling as well. It's not like they're not, Nickelback, the critics hate. So you get why that's probably never going to happen, or at least not for a long time. Jane's Addiction, they're cool. The critics love them. They had album sales. They broke into the alternative format, and they got so much play in the early 90s on the alt format that they didn't get when the songs were brand new in 89 and 90,
Right.
So it's like they deserve so much more credit than they get, but they don't get it.
Yeah, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame discussion.
It's fucking.
I know you like to poke the bear, and it gets me riled up. I really have to come to grips with it. But I just going back to Dolly Parton, just fucking hats off, man.
Yeah, she's
hats off to say no. You know what? I don't think I belong there. I appreciate it, but now everyone's contacting her to do a rock album. I know Ann Wilson already spoke out about it. A couple of producers came forward.
Of course.
So look for that to happen.
It will.
That she does some sort of a rock, even if it's a rock covers album. She did do a cover of Stairway to Heaven back in the day.
Yeah.
She's done a bunch of covers. She's done a bunch of cover songs. But look for her. I wouldn't be surprised if she did. Think about it, like how Tom Jones, remember he did those covers albums?
Great covers.
And he did his spin on songs, and they were great. Rod Stewart had a lot of success with cover albums. He kind of did them, I don't know, dinner party style. I don't even know what the fuck you call what he did.
Loungy or whatever it was. Yeah, it wasn't my favorite, but it was okay.
But look for her to do something like that. I mean, I would put all my money on Dolly Parton doing some sort of a rock covers album.
I think it'd be awesome. You know what? Didn't we come up with an idea for someone to do a bunch of ballads? Wasn't it power ballads? Remember all the cheesy ballads we came up with a few podcasts ago? She could be the one if they were written. You get Travis Barker to lay down some beats. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
we talked about it. I said, why wouldn't Kelly Clarkson do I Saw Red by Warrant?
Oh.
Why wouldn't you do that song?
Dolly doing it would be fucking, you just would be balling. You just would be balling. It'd be great.
Yeah, if she did hair metal ballads, that would actually be pretty badass. I don't know if anybody would have that same vision, but that would be good.
Yeah, the two dopes to do a shitty podcast. They've got that vision. Come on, Dolly, work with us. Rod, coming up, we got to go through our top 5 favorite U2 songs. I can't believe we haven't done this yet. This is weird. Top 5 favorite U2 songs. Before we get to that, a little quiz for you coming up after the break. Yeah,
oh boy.
I
This
get my
guy
dog.
is after the break. All right, listen, let's talk a little bit more about New Orleans here. My good friends, the Pirates, ever heard of them? Piratesofthequarter.com. Pirate walking tour. So I've got some friends that were in New Orleans this past weekend, and they ran into one of the Pirates doing his tour, and I heard all about it. They were very excited about that. The Pirate Tour, it's fun. It's loaded with information. There's no other tour like it in the French Quarter. You can bring your drinks. You're walking around. You're learning real history, pirate history, incredible stories of things that really, really happened. I'm not putting down other tours, but what these guys are giving you are facts. And they're fun facts, and they're going to be things that you remember, and you just kind of like absorb them like a sponge. You'll be talking about them afterwards. You're walking around, you're drinking beers, a pirate's cruising you around and showing you where things went down back in the day, where you're standing, and in the French Quarter. So you're going to be very surprised by this tour. There's more to New Orleans than just Bourbon Street, obviously. So save some time when you go in, discover the pirate history of New Orleans at Pirates of the Quarter on all the socials. Details at piratesofthequarter.com. Okay, you have a quiz?
Dude, I was talking to somebody the other day, and we're going back and forth. So I'm like, oh, I should throw this at Rod, see what happens. I mean, you might have done this on the show. See, this is the issue we always have with our podcast is I have no idea what you're doing on your radio show. So if you've already done this, then just go, dude, I've already done that. That's lame. Don't do it. Let's go into our YouTube shit. So we were talking, and
you could run this by me before the show sometimes. We do talk a little bit beforehand. You can
surprises are good once in a while.
Right.
A little surprise quiz once in a while is pretty good. It's not a hard one. I thought I'd just get an interesting discussion going. And here's how I'll phrase this. It is very childish. You ready? Which movie character would win in a fight? You ready? I've got 1, 2, 3. I got 5.
Okay. No, we did not do this, but we were just recently talking. Is this because of Elon Musk challenging?
Maybe, but I don't think that's where it came from. I think I was just maybe that kind of planted the seed because it's like
Elon Musk challenged Putin, wants to fight him.
No,
and the guys on the show thought I was crazy that I would put my money on Putin. He's a fucking KGB guy.
Yeah.
He's a black belt. Oh, well, they took away his black belt. What do you think? They took away his moves? He knows how to do all that shit. So he doesn't have the black belt anymore. He knows how to do all that stuff. Putin would destroy Elon Musk.
Yeah, I don't see Elon.
Hope that wasn't on your list.
Well, okay, number 2. No, that's fine. It's fine. No, and we'll start off with a softball, man. Okay, which movie character would win in a fight? And you don't go crazy on me now. Superman versus Batman. Who wins in a fight?
Fucking Superman. I know there's Batman people out there. He's a regular dude with a lot of money. Mm-hmm. He's got, I'm sure he's a decent, scrappy guy. But Superman, you can't even compare the two.
I know. But the kryptonite dude and Batman's smart. Shut up. Superman would just blast his brains out with one punch. It's game over, dude.
One punch, right? Like, I think it's like one finger. He stops a train with 2 hands. Yeah. I think he can put his finger right through his skull. Right?
All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Easily. And then he's got the heat vision, all that shit, and whatever. All right. I want to start off with an easy one. This one, here we go. You ready? Oh, you're going to love this one. This one's good. This one gets you thinking. Fucking Bill the Butcher from Gangs of New York.
Oh, he's fucking badass. That's one of my favorite characters all time.
One of the greatest ever.
Daniel Day-Lewis, my favorite actor.
Bill the Butcher from Gangs of New York versus Brad Pitt's Tyler Durden from Fight Club. Yeah. See, I started off soft. Now I'm coming at you hard. Coming in hard. Bill the Butcher is so greasy and so great. I can't not
Bill the Butcher. I mean, what year is that? Like, that's in the early 1900s, right?
It's right. It's Civil War. You're looking at 1860s, 1865. So I think they tell at the end, but I don't remember.
Okay. They were way tougher then. They were way fucking tougher. He did have a lot of weapons on him. So I'm taking that. His name is Bill the Butcher. He's a master with the knives.
That's a wound. That's a wound.
Yeah. No. I go Bill the Butcher over Fight Club for sure.
All right. Good one. Yeah, I was kind of leaning that way myself. This one's taking us back a little bit, and this one's going to be a tough one, of course. William Wallace from Braveheart in a fight versus Maximus from Gladiator. That would
Oh,
be
shit, dude.
Russell Crowe. I mean, you're putting the same type of dudes at each other. Like,
I know.
Okay, forget about this. You know how many tickets that would sell? That would be a fucking fight for the ages if you thought about it. Just two guys got a lot. Chicks get killed, and they got all that fucking anger. And oh my God, what a great fight that would be.
I gotta go with Gladiator because it's actual military training that he had.
Good.
You know, like he was a military leader. He must have rose up the ranks to get to that point. And I get it. William Wallace is a badass, but I don't think they were just scrappy. You know, they were all guys that got together and they fought, and, you know, they fought against armies that were trained and kicked their asses.
Right.
But I think Maximus, you saw what he did in the Colosseum and what he did. I mean, he just destroyed, man. He knew how to fight.
Right.
William Wallace was just a wild swinger. You know, he was just wild. And I think Maximus was more planned out, calculated. I think he kicked William Wallace's ass.
Right. And if you think about William Wallace is going up against the British were fighting on reputation and ego, and they weren't really throwing much at it. I mean, they had numbers, but that was it.
Right.
William Wallace carved out ideas and ways to flank and all this other stuff too. So yeah, no, that's good. I like the Maximus.
But I just got to think the military mind of Maximus,
right, his strategy
would probably prevail.
All right. This one's really out there. This was great.
I like it.
Which movie character would win in a fight? John McClane from Die Hard or Dalton from Roadhouse? Come on,
bro.
Yeah. Roadhouse, one of my favorite movies of all time. That's Patrick Swayze, no shirt. A lot of he's got a lot of that jujitsu, karate going on, right?
Yeah, he definitely had some martial arts training.
Sick shape, and then you got John McClane, donut eating, smoking cop from New York.
Fighting, huh? They're fighting,
and John McClane don't go down. He's like that, got that Rocky thing where he just doesn't go down. You know, just a fight. What character would win?
I think I'm going Dalton on this.
Yeah.
I think I'm going Dalton on this because not that John McClane wasn't tough, but Dalton being a cooler, he was the bouncer, he's just got so much more fight experience. I'm talking about just scrapping and fighting. He's got way more fight experience. And I know that I don't even know what John McClane was. Was he a cop? Was he an off-duty cop?
He was a cop from New York, so he's got some scrap. But most cops don't do a lot of fighting.
But you don't do a lot of fighting, and Dalton just did so much bar fighting. You got to go Dalton on that. Dalton's just a tough, badass dude. So many fights.
All right, and then one more, and then we'll move on to our top 5 favorite U2 songs. And this one's kind of weird. In a fight, who would win in a fight? Sylvester Stallone's Rocky Balboa.
Ooh.
Or Sylvester Stallone's John Rambo. Rambo versus Balboa. I mean, that's tough because those are some tough mofos. I think you flip a coin on that one, man.
Rambo and Rocky, they looked different. They were different sizes in every movie, you know? So if you go, is it Rocky 1 and Rambo 1? I hate to be so technical, but you know, by the time Rocky 3 rolls around, shit, I mean, the shape that Sylvester Stallone, the shape that Balboa was in.
Right.
I got to go Rambo with all that training. Again,
Military.
I got to go military. I got to go the training. I know that Rocky Balboa never quits, but he does get intimidated from time to time. He was pretty fucking scared of Clubber Lang. Okay. He was pretty afraid of Clubber Lang. Okay. That was like, you know what? He even had to tell him, what do you want me to say? You want me to say I'm afraid? Okay, I'm afraid. You want to bring me down? You want to make me feel like less a man? Rambo would never do that. Rambo wasn't fucking afraid of anybody. Rambo could probably take on Clubber Lang and Balboa at the same time.
Yeah. All right. There you go. There's your quiz. See, that wasn't so bad. Didn't hurt a bit. Did not hurt a bit, but it's like it gets you thinking about those movie characters. You're like, oh, I wonder who would win in a fight. You know, the Bill the Butcher thing is crazy because you start breaking it down. Like, can he use knives or not? You know, that's his thing. He's a knife guy, but he could also throw some fists. You know, so I don't know. I thought I would go through that, Rod. I thought it'd be fun.
Gangs of New York. U2 has a great song in the closing credits.
That's the segue. There it is. See? Professional.
It's a great song too, man. I let that song, when the movie ends, boom, I let that sucker play, man. Whatever that U2 song is, it's awesome. I forgot.
It's
really good though. It's a song about New York City, I believe.
It's called The Hand That Built America.
The hands
that built
America. Hands that built America. Such a great song, man.
Huh. All right. See, look at that. Right into our top 5 favorite U2 songs of all time, Rod. How about that, huh?
So I wasn't a U2 fan from the get-go. I was more of a rocker, and U2 was interesting to me. I never disliked them, but they were different. And I was more cock rock when that stuff was happening. The guys were a little sensitive that liked U2. They were more of the U2, Depeche Mode, Cure. There were guys that I got along with, you know, but they were a little bit more. They were a little bit more in touch with their feelings than me. So it took me a while to get into U2. And then, with all things in my life, my sister started influencing me, and she got the Joshua Tree album. And I just knew it was awesome. You know, it was just so many hits on it. And then she got Rattle and Hum. And then I started to kind of get into them. I got in, then I got out. Then I got back in later in life. And I realized that this is one of the great bands of all time. So we came from Buffalo, and they got played on the classic rock station a lot. And then when we started an alternative radio station, they got played on that. There was a lot of U2 on the air.
Yeah.
So, and our music director, that was his favorite band. That was Rich Wall's favorite band, who I think might be having a birthday today. Happy birthday, Rich Wall. Seeing them live is next level kind of stuff. Man, they're rock stars. And it's just them 4 dudes. It's them 4 dudes filling up a stadium. There's no keyboard player. I mean, once in a while, a special guest or something. It's those 4 dudes. And the other really cool thing about U2, it's the same 4 dudes. There's not a lot of that going on. As a matter of fact, now that ZZ Top is missing somebody, guess what? There's nobody running with the original crew. Nobody, right?
Very few at this point. I mean, you've always got a different bass player or guitar player or something at this point, or singer. Who knows? You know? Yeah. You're right.
Who's running with the original crew? U2.
There's not much, man.
Aerosmith is close, but nope, they're not there. So sorry, that doesn't count. I mean, you start at all the big bands and then work your way down. They're all missing somebody.
Right.
The fact that those dudes are still hanging, that's awesome. That is amazing that it's the same 4 originals.
I didn't get into U2 until much later. I was like you, man. It's like, you had the U2 guys and the Cure guys, and then you had the headbanger guys. It's like those tribes didn't really cross very often, No. And I was young and dumb. I didn't know shit about U2. They felt sensitive. They felt very nice, and like, okay, that's not what I'm into right now. It took me.
You were spending your time with Van Halen and not U2.
Yeah, Van Halen, Kiss, all that shit, man. I was banging my head on stuff, man. And then I was like, well, who are these pussies? That's literally what I remember saying a million times. Who are these pussies? U2 sucks. And I didn't know anything, obviously. And then later on, I started listening to a couple songs, and then I started really listening to them. And you dive into the lyrics, you're like, whoa, hey, wait a minute. They're actually saying something. They're not just talking about a girl's tits or cherry pies or some shit. There's actual meaning in some of these songs. It's not just mindless fun, So the only time I saw U2 was at the Super Bowl when they played the, whatever you do, like 4.5 songs or some shit at the Super Bowl. That's the only time I've ever seen U2 live. I've never seen them in their own concert before, which is a travesty. It's terrible. I have to say
they're pretty great.
Yeah.
They're pretty unbelievable live. I still think that is the best Super Bowl halftime show of all time. And then Prince is right there. I just think the timing of U2 being the band that's playing right after, that's the first big event after September 11th. So that's why I always put that one first. And then it helps that I was there. If I was in the stands and it's raining and fucking Prince is playing Purple Rain, I might think that's the best Super Bowl halftime show of all time, you know? I mean, he's crushing Purple Rain and it starts to rain. What kind of deal does this guy have with the big guy?
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, those are 1 and 2, and I don't really argue people too much on that. I've seen U2 live. They're amazing. I saw them in the Superdome in the discotheque era. I traveled to Madison Square Garden to go see them. It was part of a New York trip, and I wanted to go see them there. It was special to me to see U2 in New York. I wanted to see. Saw them here, a couple stadium tours, and I got to interview Bono. And that was one of the people ask me, you know, what's the best interview? What was the biggest interview? The most important interview you've ever done? It's got to be Bono. I got asked by my company, iHeartRadio, to interview him, and it was going to be carried on 100 radio stations. And Bono was going to say, I'm sorry for putting their new album on everybody's iPhone and iPad and iPod.
I still can't get that shit off my phone.
He gave you a free song, a free album. And people got mad.
Yeah.
So I got flown to Miami, and I got to hang out. I met him beforehand. I hung out with Bono a little bit. He couldn't have been cooler. I met Larry Mullen Jr. I met him first. He was cool as shit. And they really put me at ease interviewing them. They knew I was nervous. I think they know everyone's going to be nervous meeting them. And Bono wanted to meet me before the interview. He had heard interviews. They wanted to hear interviews that I did.
Damn.
When iHeart asked me to do it, they said, here's who we're submitting to do this. Bono wanted to hear interviews. I had to submit things that he listened to. So he listened to when Chester was with STP. I sent him that interview and some other ones. He needed to hear who was going to be talking to him, because this is a real vulnerable time for U2 as well.
Right.
You know, my company cut the deal. Hey, give us the exclusive. You can talk about why you did what you did with Apple Music and why you put your album out there. A lot of people won't remember that story, but you woke up one day and U2's album was on your phone.
Yeah,
they gave it to everybody for free. And I remember Dinah, who was on the show at the time, like, this is fucking up my shuffle. This is fucking up my playlists. She was mad about it. I'm like, it's U2 gave you a free album. What's wrong with you?
Right.
And people were mad about it. So this was an opportunity. This was going to be the first time that they were going to talk about it. So I go to the Miami hotel. I go up. They go, Bono's ready to meet you. Bono's ready to see you. I'm like, okay, shit. Now we're getting in the elevator, right?
Oh.
So we go up to the top, and I go in this room, and they're like, okay, just chill here. And then Larry, the drummer, just in his leather jacket, just comes walking in. Hey, guys, what's up? You know, just a regular dude. Just a regular dude. He's the drummer of one of the biggest bands in the world. He sits down and just starts talking to us like we know each other. And then they're like, hey, Rod, okay, now this is like 3 people in the room, because my boss wormed his way up there with me. So then they say, Bono is ready for you. So I go down a hall and I go out on a balcony, and Bono's standing there. And he goes,
balcony, Jesus Christ, like a crime movie.
It's on a balcony, and we're on Miami Beach. And he goes, Rod, come on over. So he calls me by my name. I'm shitting myself.
Yeah.
I walk over and I'm like, Bono, great to meet you. Hi, I'm Rod. He goes, yeah, I know. He looks down there and there's a party. He goes, do you think that's Puffy's party? I said,
Jesus Christ.
I go, I wouldn't put it past him. I heard that, you know, he throws some pretty good parties. He goes, do you think they'll let us in? And I said, I think they'll let you in. And if you don't mind, I'd like to tag along. And he laughed.
Nice.
And then we just started chit-chatting, and he made me feel pretty at ease. And I got to interview Bono, and I shit my pants. Every big person of my company was sitting right there in the front row, staring at me, throwing eye daggers at me, you know, watching me interview this guy. It was fun, but it was nerve-wracking too.
And that's the worst. Why fucking set the suits and all the you know, the higher ups in front of you?
Because they all were in fraternities, and their favorite band in college was U2. So everybody wanted to be there.
I know, but that just
every program director in my company, every alternative program director, every bigwig, they were all in this room. And then 10 winners. The other bit was full of all the brass for my company.
Right.
And 10 winners got to experience that. Every other chair was full of people that could squash my head.
Right. But I think it's cool that he wanted to hear your interview, because how many times that poor guy Bono done interviews with wacky, zany DJs from around the country, and he's like,
this one was too important. This one was going to be an important, wasn't going to be like some goofball thing. And he knew it was on 100 radio stations, and it was the first one of addressing what the decision was they made with Apple Music to put that out for everybody.
Jesus Christ. But yeah,
I am going to take a song from that album, and that is going to be in my top 5.
Really?
Bam, 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 bam. Yeah. I had to study that album forwards and backwards. I really spent a lot of time with that Songs of Innocence album. That's the one with the black and white. It's got Larry Mullins Jr. on the cover, and then it's his son kind of hugging him. It's a weird picture, but it's a really good album. It's a really, really good album.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it yet. It's on my phone. I can't get rid of it.
It's good.
You know what it is? I think people are just like, okay, you put it on my phone, but I can delete shit off my phone. That thing just doesn't go away.
Yeah, it's kind of locked in there.
It's locked in. I was like, just unlock it. I appreciate the effort, boys, but let me get rid of it. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't want to listen to this shit. So why don't you go first? I want to hear what you got. Top 5 favorite U2 songs, Rod.
Dude, when you look at
you only give 5.
I'm just saying, fucking Joshua Tree.
I know.
The album, Where the Streets Have No Name, Bullet the Blue Sky, In God's Country, still haven't found what I'm looking for. Then you got Running to Stand Still. Okay. Trip Through Your Wires, With or Without You. Dude, that's one of the greatest albums of all time.
Yep.
We could have just done, what are your 5 favorites of the 9 songs that are on Joshua Tree?
I mean, I think everybody knows that we won't have to even have a conversation. You know what they are.
We could have done that. All right, here we go. I go to Joshua Tree twice on my list.
Whoa.
In at number 5, I go to Joshua Tree, and it's really not a huge song off the album, but it's a song called Trip Through Your Wires. And I remember gravitating towards this song because it had such a cool rock feel to it. It wasn't a pop song at all. It's got a harmonica solo in it. It's kind of Bo Diddley sounding. It's just, I absolutely have always loved the song. And it's very hard to find a standout in those songs that I just mentioned to you. It's not anywhere near as famous as 5, 6 other songs on that album, but it's my second favorite song on that album. It's my number 5 all time. Trip Through Your Wire. Go listen to it. It's awesome.
I will.
Harmonica solo.
I mean, you can't beat a harmonica solo with U2, right?
Well, apparently not. Apparently, cool. Bono's my favorite harmonica player because he does a harmonica solo on my number 4 song.
Jesus.
The song is called Desire.
Yeah.
Okay. Desire off of Rattle and Hum, 1988. And that one is a rocker, man. Yeah, that cool. One really is. That's the Bo Diddley sounding song for sure. And it's just got great drums. Larry Mullen Jr. is a massively underrated drummer. He's not technical, but shit, if his stuff isn't some of the most important drumming, his stuff is so important to the song. What do you mean, Rod? Every drummer is important to the song. When you only have 4 players, and in U2, it's usually 3 players.
3, yeah.
What he does on the drums, okay, it's not, rest in peace, Joey Jordison, from what he did on Slipknot. It's just different style. But, man, it's just as important, if not more important, for what he does on those songs. He really is an interesting drummer.
But we talk about this all the time, or at least a few times on the podcast. It's like, especially with guitar, you got these guys who are amazing players and they're shredders. But like a lot of those 80s hair metal bands, those songs, those solos sucked because he didn't fit the song. Larry Mullen knows how to fit and do exactly what he needs to do and make the sound right for those songs. Much like your boy Ringo.
That's what people say about Ringo Starr. They talk about how important his drumming is. He wasn't this technical wizard. He wasn't Neil Peart.
Right.
But what he did was important to what they were doing at the time. I just feel like Paul told him what to play. I don't think Ringo was the best drummer in the Beatles. That's my statement on that. Okay, so another harmonica solo. The song is called Desire. I absolutely love it. I think that's where they won their first Grammy. And I remember that being a big staple on MTV too. That was a good rattle and hum. I thought Bono looked cool. His hair was long. He wore the cowboy hat.
Right.
It was live. It was great. It's a great album. My number 3 is from Songs of Innocence. It's on everybody's iPhone. It's in everybody's iTunes. You can't get rid of it. Take the time to listen to Every Breaking Wave.
Okay.
After I interviewed U2, we went out to dinner. We had a dinner with them. We didn't go out to dinner. Everything was done in this hotel. So with this big, long table, it's like the Last Supper. And U2 is addressing all the program directors. And Bono said, we want songs on the radio. He's not threatening the programmers of the alternative stations. He's saying, we still think what you guys do is important for us. He's in fucking U2. He still wants to be on the radio.
Yeah.
He talked about the whole dinner, how important radio was and how he wanted to be on the radio. He said, that's how we have become this successful mega band. It's because of our radio airplay. He didn't discount. He talked about MTV because the guys that work for my company started MTV. So they talk about those good old days too. But he went and re-recorded what's already a beautiful song on that album. And he did it a little bit more of a ballad style. It's beautiful. All right. So it's not so much the album version of Songs of Innocence. It's a beautiful song, Every Breaking Wave, but it's the stripped down version. And it's the one that we actually played a little bit of on the radio. And I just couldn't get people interested in it. I don't know what it was. It was too slow. It is an unbelievable song. You know this, even if you're not a huge fan, U2's got a million songs.
Yeah.
So these top 5s, this one was really, really tough. I think I know we sound like we get paid to say, boy, this was hard to do, but this one was brutal. Every Breaking Wave in at 3. In at number 2, Beautiful Day. Beautiful Day. It was something that we played on the air for Spinato when I did the morning show with you, and Spinato was moving out of his house. I don't know if you were on then. But Spinato Palooza. Like when he was leaving, when he was finally moving out.
Yes.
We just said, hey, dude, your dad's on the phone. Because, we couldn't get Spinato to move out. And every time we picked up the phone, we just hit, it's a beautiful day. We were making fun of his parents for finally so happy that he was getting out of the house.
Right.
It was on repetitive. We played it that bit so much that I just ended up just absolutely loving the song. It really is a great song. If you don't feel better after hearing It's a Beautiful Day, then you can't get out of the slump that you're in. Like you don't want to be fixed if that song doesn't make you feel a little bit better.
It's so great.
It's so uplifting. It's so positive. It's so straightforward of them too. It's basic lyrics. It's not, you don't got to think about it. It's just in your face. Let's fucking be happy right now. And it works. And that song, and it works every time. Works every time that song is on for me.
Absolutely. Love that song.
And number 1, Where the Streets Have No Name.
Wow, nice.
I got to go back to Joshua Tree. And I do like talking about the video and going back to the Beatles. That's the one where they played on the rooftop in Los Angeles. And they totally ripped off the Beatles. But guess what? U2 can rip off the Beatles all they want, It's
fine. It's totally fine.
They played on the rooftop, the cops, the whole deal. They tipped off the media. The difference was they had a huge crowd when they were playing on the roof. The Beatles had nobody watching them play on the roof. Thank God they were filming it and that we have that amazing footage. But not a lot of people saw the Beatles. That rooftop concert was basically just for the cameras. That's all it was for. Very few people gathered on the streets. Nobody knew what was going on. A lot of people knew what was going on. That's a fun video to watch. Go back and watch it. I watched it today. It's been a while, but Where the Streets Have No Name, that is just an amazing song.
It's so great. It just takes forever to get going. It just gets going. It just gets going. It just
The
gets
build
going.
up, right?
And
That build up
is
in the
just-
beginning, it's just,
You're like, okay, what's going on here?
it's another one that changes my mood, man. You hear that, it reminds me like the beginning of Thunderstruck. That diggy 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 diggy. It's like, this is going to be fun. All right, this is going to be fun, right?
Yeah, because you're going to build on it.
It's that same feeling as they start out and it's like, okay, where's this going? Where's this going? Even though you've heard the song a million times, I'm there for the journey on that song, man. Okay, take me, Edge. Edge, take me on your ride.
Take me on your jangly ride, dude. Do it.
So that's my top 5. I think the only weird one is that Trip Through Your Wire. That's probably like, for me, it's such a personal favorite. I'm wondering if that would be on anyone else on the planet's top 5. These other songs, I think you would find them.
Yeah.
Maybe not Desire. I don't know.
No, Desire's a great song. We played the shit out of that for a while at Classic Rock years ago. It was like constantly in rotation, but it sort of fell off. I don't know what happened. I think maybe because Bono pissed everybody off. Nobody plays U2 on the radio anymore, maybe from that meeting. All right, Rod. Well, my top 5 is, I think we've got a couple of the same songs, but there's differences here, man. Number 5 for me is a song that, like, for me to get into U2, it took a long time. And I was into U2 a little bit before this song came out, but this one was one of the songs I was like, okay, all right, they're in my wheelhouse now. The song is called Vertigo, right? From U2. It's uplifted, it's rocking, it's raucous, it's badass. And then the video was cool, like out and it's all white and they're under an airplane or some shit, if I remember correctly.
Well, that song was used for the iPod commercial.
Oh,
So it had that.
Yeah.
So it was one of those songs that had that iconic, there was that Jet. Are You Gonna Be My Girl? There was a handful of songs that they had that look about them. And they scored one of the songs that was in the iPod used to play all the time, the commercial. And it was huge. It was absolutely huge. And it was on all the time. And that made that song so much bigger.
Yep. Super popular. I just love it. It's just quick, raucous. It's not a U2 sound. You know what I mean? It doesn't have the normal jangly guitars. There's actually some fuzz on the distortion.
It was being used while the song was building itself on the radio. It was being used in the commercial. A lot of times, what commercials will do is they'll bank on nostalgia and they'll go grab an older song. And Apple didn't do that. They bet on songs and they made songs big. And I think that song was really helped by that Apple promotion.
Totally. Because I remember every time it came out, I'm like, awesome. Love that song. It helped a lot. Number 4. Well, here we go. Where the Streets Have No Name.
Ooh, and number 4.
Same reasons, same exact reasons. The video, groundbreaking at the time. It was on MTV constantly. It was always on MTV for a while. And the song, it just takes so long to get going. You're like, okay, come on, let's go. And then once it gets going, well, then it's game on. It's just awesome. I mean, it's just a great song. You can't beat
you being in classic rock. I mean, do you know this offhand? I'm just because I'm looking at it. The album, it's 5:38. Does classic rock play that whole intro, or do you guys play an edit?
kind of ramps it. You kind of ramp it in because it's so quiet when it starts. And if you put that much of that quiet on the radio, it's a tune out. You can't hear it, you know?
Gotcha.
You hear your tires going around and around in your car and then it finally kicks in. So you do some chopping, which sucks, but it's got to be, you got to keep the energy up and the level up on the radio station. Number 3, One.
Ooh, it's a good one.
One. I mean, that's just, whoa, that's heavy. That's a heavy song. It's awesome. It's slow. But see, this is all the stuff that I didn't get into when it came out. All this shit came in way later after it was already popular. I sort of gravitated towards U2 much later in life and was like, whoa, what a great song. So I don't have any sort of connection to when this shit came out. It all just sort of happened much, much later. I discovered everything.
Did you ever hear Chris Cornell do that?
Yeah, that's just awesome.
But he did his own mashup between that and Metallica's one.
Right. It's a little weird, but
he did a mashup of it, and it was good. I would have liked to hear him do just the straight version of U2's one, but
Correct.
What he did was brilliant. Actually, that's a little homework assignment for everybody. Chris Cornell his cover of One, but it's like nothing you've ever heard before.
Number 2, Beautiful Day. You put that
Yeah.
on. Dude, I don't care what's going on in your day. You put that on, you're like, all right. You walk a little taller when that comes on. You just feel, you sit up straighter when that song comes on. You can't beat it. You just can't beat it for a positive song. What's the song, George Harrison? Here Comes the Sun.
Yeah.
You put it in those, you rate a list of super awesome, happy, have a great day songs. Beautiful Days in it.
And I can't get sick of it.
No, it doesn't go away.
There's never an inappropriate time, maybe a funeral or something, but there's never like the wrong time for that song for me. It's just never like, okay, I guess I did work that came out when we were in Buffalo. That was discotheque, right? Beautiful Day.
So let me check.
So that was something, it was 2000. So maybe it was after. But we played that on the radio, and I never got sick of it. I never got sick of that song.
2000, all that You Can't Leave Behind was the album. 2000.
Okay.
So just great though. Just a great song. Holy
I guess
shit.
Pop Mart was before that. Okay.
And then number 1, With or Without You. I mean, dude, the sing-along part. Holy shit.
Dude, you are very, very sensitive right now.
Dude,
I'm digging the vulnerability that you're showing me on the show today.
Yeah, you're right. I'm a bit pussy today, aren't I? Wow. But you know what? But I look at it from a different side of things. Back in the day when I had my shitty mullet and it was all Cinderella and Judas Priest, I would not have given a shit about these songs. And I did not give a shit about these songs. When I got older and a little bit wiser, and I actually paid attention to the damn music a little bit, I realized, whoa, there's something being said here. This is kind of cool with the music, the way it was great. And then the lyrics, I'm like, oh shit, I'm a pussy, but this is great. This is great songs. It's okay to like a slow song. You know that, Rod, right? It's cool now. You can be cool.
Yeah, I do know that it's cool.
It wasn't though. It was never, you got to call it, listen to a slow song, man. You're dudes that just whoop your ass. And then you'd be in a car. If you're cranking something in the car, like I'll still do this. If I'm listening to some pussy song and I got it cranked in my car and I stop at a stoplight, I turn it down. I'll turn that shit down.
Come on.
I know I got to grow up, but I'm like, I can't be caught listening.
The thing about some of those songs that you mentioned, and with you too, you never know. You don't know, okay, what are they singing about right now? Because their songs are about something.
Always, yeah.
I like Beautiful Day because I don't got to fucking think about it, okay? I don't got to look at the lyrics. It's a beautiful day. That's it. If there's some fucking war shit in there, I don't know about it, okay? I don't look at lyrics. I'm a dumb drummer. I listen to the melody, and then boom, I hit the power chorus, and I'm on board, right? One, With or Without You, it's like those. It's we talked about songs that you can't play, like Every Breath You Take by The Police. Somebody had asked me to play that at a wedding. I'm like, fuck no. It's a stalker song.
It's about stalking.
It's not, people just thinking it was a nice song and it would be nice to slow dance to that. With or Without You, can I put that on a mixtape and give that to a chick? I don't know. It's like, you're kind of making me miserable. With or Without You. I don't know where Bono's going with this. I don't dissect lyrics. U2 makes you think a little bit about some of these things.
And that's what's great about it. That's why I grew to like U2. I did. It's like, you start drinking wine. You're like, this tastes terrible. I'm going back to beer. That's when I was 22. Now, give me wine all day long. I will drink that over beer if I get the chance. Absolutely. Right. And you learn more about things, It's like with age, you start to understand a little bit deeper. I did not understand any of this shit. I didn't care about any of this shit before. It was just, if it isn't heavy and beating the shit and talking about girls, I don't care, but U2, I still like U2 even more today. It's a band that's just going to continue to grow. The new stuff that comes out, I'm like, okay, I'll listen to it. I'll check it out. And I'm going to check out your song, Every Breaking Wave.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, because of what you have on your top 5, okay, Every Breaking Wave is just as good as those 2 ballads that you have on your list. Every Breaking Wave, it's a absolutely brilliant song. And Bono was willing to change. What do I need to do to get this on the radio? He said that to iHeart programmers.
Wow.
What do I need to do to get this song on the radio? He knew he had something great, and he does. He has something great. He shouldn't have to bend, but you know what? It just wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right time, and we played it for a little bit, and it just wasn't grabbing people. It is an unbelievable song. The album version isn't bad,
right?
But the one that's stripped down, oh man, is that a song? Is that a song, dude?
I wonder if at that point U2 had so much success and they're so huge, but they also know that they put so much effort into making a new song and a new album. They spend so much time with other producers. I mean, they really craft an album. Okay, U2 doesn't fuck around. If it doesn't make it on the radio, do you feel like, what the fuck did I just do with all my time? You know what I mean? Like, I know you're making great songs and you do it because you want to do it, but you also, at the end of the day, you want people to see your art. Don't paint something and put it in a closet. You know what I mean? That's the problem being a musician. Especially a U2 stature. If nobody's playing your shit on the radio, I can see why he would plead to you guys, But
it happens all the time with bands, and he knows that, and we know that. I think it's great that The Offspring came out with a hit song on this last album, Let the Bad Times Roll. We played the shit out of that. Now, Red Hot Chili Peppers coming out with an album. These are bands that are now 30 years old, okay? So what you played years ago, it's like, okay, the Rolling Stones, they still put out an album. Who gives a shit?
Because
everybody wants to go see the Rolling Stones. You want to see them live. You want to hear the hits. They will still put out an album. It's important to them.
Right.
Nobody plays it. These bands are getting to that point. They're getting to what happened to the Rolling Stones, where you can't take the musician out of Keith Richards. He still has new ideas. Now, whether that he fits the mold of what a radio station has an idea of what, a song should sound like, he doesn't give a shit. But U2 does give a shit. And same thing with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who have been around now. They got a hit song, okay? This Black Summer song is really good. The fucking vocals are terrible, but the song is really good. The guy cannot sing his ass out of a paper bag, but the song is good.
It's such a cool song.
It's just not guaranteed. It's just not guaranteed for a band, even like Papa Roach, when they put out a new album, they're going to be coming up on 20 some years. It's not guaranteed that your song, we're going to just play your song. It happens to most bands, and U2 did not want that to happen to them.
Right.
They did not want to be a band that put out music, only their hardcore fans bought it, and then everyone just came to hear the hits. They probably did it longer than anybody. They still sounded relevant, and they listen to Bono says he listens to everything, so he musically he's aging, but he knows what's going on, and he's not chasing a sound or anything, but he wants shit on the radio. And I love that about him.
Hell yeah. I think it's great. And then, I would assume all these, it's been a long time since they put anything out, so you'd think they'd be working on shit, and hopefully, I have no inside information, but God, it'd be cool to have YouTube bust some shit out here the next year. It would be very cool, and see how it sounds after what you just told everybody. It would be really cool to hear what it sounds like, and then does it get airplay? Because it is so hard to get a song on the radio. But I bet that's why Bono's pleading, like, hey, man, look, we spent a lot of time working on these songs and nobody hears them. And I know that goes for every band,
When Bono looks at you and said, what do you need me to do? Like, you're Bono. What are you asking me for?
Fucking get me into Puffy's parties, would you tell him? Let's go.
He's like, he was looking for ideas. One of the dudes floated, and he was a programmer from Denver. He said, what about Red Rocks? And this would have been like an iHeart deal. What about a Red Rock show, a reunion at Red Rocks? Because the Sunday Bloody Sunday video.
Right.
And we just pack it full of, we do some sort of an anniversary, and we do it, and it's just exclusive, and we just pack it full of winners. And Bono's like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. He wanted to wheel and deal. He wanted his songs on the radio.
Holy shit. Yeah, because then to get all the winners, you're going to play the song all over the country. So it would
correct
that way. Yeah. Wow.
All right. Well, pretty good list, man. U2 definitely worthy. we should probably think about when we get to bands like U2 and that maybe they get a top 6 or 7.
I don't know, man. The boss doesn't like that shit. He wants to do 5 and 5 only. One thing about U2 is that the Edge and Bono, they bought a bar. It's actually a hotel in Dublin years ago. It's called the Clarence, and they still own it as far as I checked. And you can stay there when you go to Dublin, Rod. Stay at the Clarence. It's U2's place. Okay. Now, They don't fucking hang out. They're not the bus boys or the bellhops, but I actually stayed there for a couple of days, and I'm like, whoa, I'm staying where U2 owns it. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? But it was still cool. And it's right in what they call the Temple Bar area. So it was like a great location, nice hotel. They didn't show up, oddly enough. It's weird. They must have been
really. Did you go to Planet Hollywood thinking that Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger were going to show up?
Well, it is Planet
and Bruce Willis. Like, hey,
Hollywood.
Man, Sylvester in the kitchen. See back there?
Oh, it's like when you go to the Hard Rock. Where's all the bands, man? Come on, let's bring them out. Right. No, that's not how that works. But yeah, anyway, just want to throw that out there.
Okay.
Any final thoughts, Rod?
So I haven't talked about this yet on the air, and nobody knows this. This is a big exclusive here, and I'm sitting on it. Do I have it in my pocket? I might have it in my pocket. I do. So what I'm showing the people that are still, the 5 people that are watching us on YouTube, is a jump drive. All right. Oh. And it just holds files, and it's just a little mini hard drive. And on this hard drive is an interview with Liam Gallagher.
Really?
He did 2 interviews that day. He did my interview, and he talked to the website Loudwire. And I don't know if they've put theirs out yet. I've been sitting on it just because I've been so busy this week. I know I've got Liam Gallagher on a drive.
Jesus Christ.
So I'm going to bust that out soon, but that's not my final thought. My final thought is I let Liam know that we were recording and we weren't live. I told Alex on the show, I said, dude, I'm going to interview Liam Gallagher. Now, I'm this really big Oasis fan. I'm super excited. He knows that about me. The first thing out of his mouth is, get him to say cunt. I said, well, that's not high on my list, but if it comes up, okay. So I start talking to Liam Gallagher, and I said, hey, I tell him the story about Alex. Alex said, get him to say cunt. And I said, I won't ask him to say it, but I will let you know as I'm talking to Liam that we are recording and you can speak as freely as you like. And he said, I don't throw that word around. That word is very special to me. And it's only used in appropriate situations. So he goes, I hope I don't have to use it during this interview.
Holy shit, is that great. Wow, yeah. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, he said he doesn't. I mean, I feel like those guys throw it around a lot, but he claims that he does not throw that word around a lot. Oh, I would beg to differ when it comes to the Gallagher brothers, that word is said quite a bit, but he says he saves it for special occasions.
So when he's really pissed off, or you are being one, he's going to drop that pretty hard.
So that's in here right in the beginning of my interview. So, awesome. Of course, I ask him, gosh, what can we do? Are we any closer to getting back together? Oasis, and he talks a little bit about that. And
he calls you a cunt. Called you cunt for asking.
Yeah, don't be another cunt asking me the same question. He deflected it a little. He didn't deflect really. He just said we should have never broken up. We should have just absolutely never broken up.
Wow.
But he's got a new song with Dave Grohl, and the song's really good. The song with Dave Grohl is awesome. We're playing it at night, so it's a pretty good tune. I suggest everybody go check it out. Final thoughts, Jason.
Well, I guess I'll have to listen to the interview, but was he cool? He seems like he'd be a cool guy to sit around in a pub and have some pints with and hang out with, and then maybe.
I mean, he can be crusty. I mean, it's been hit and miss with him when I've seen stuff with him.
Right.
He was cool. He's gotten a lot cooler as he's older. He was very cool. He said, I'm like, wow, it's really cool. You're working with Dave Grohl. He's like, yeah, Dave came to me with a song. So Dave kind of got it rolling with them. And, he listened and he thought, okay, I could do something with it. And he goes, on the other hand, he goes, fucking Taylor Hawkins sends me something every week. Taylor Hawkins is the biggest Oasis fan in the world. He says, this guy won't stop. He sends me shit every week. He goes, Guy, you're doing great. Just do what you're doing with that. And then he found out, he goes, man, then he called him back and he apologized. He said, man, I didn't know the boss was sending you something. He goes, but he said, Taylor Hawkins, he made it. He said, yeah, Taylor Hawkins sends me shit every week.
Oh, that's awesome.
Trying to get me to do something with him.
See, that's an interesting point, Rod, because like you think these guys like in the Foo Fighters, okay, the money's there. Okay, you got more money than you can count, right?
Everybody's rich in that band.
You're still playing stadiums. You're still relevant. You just went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but you got other shit you want to do. You know, just because you play the drums for freaking Foo Fighters doesn't mean you. I mean, I know he's got his solo stuff and he's been working with Dave Navarro on another project. These musicians, like you said earlier, they just want to play. They just want to play. And it's easier now because you can just send some fucking drum tracks over the fucking internet to Liam Gallagher. He can throw down some vocals and some guitar, send it back to you, mix it. You got a song out. You have to be in the same room. You know,
we talked about that with Jason Newsted. That was his demise in Metallica. They just were such dicks to him. They wanted to take a couple years off, and Jason's a little bit younger. And he's like, guys, I want to play, man. This is what I do. I don't take 2 years off. No. You know, he didn't have all the stuff that they had. He was still wanted to play, and they didn't want him playing with other people. And they've since said that was a mistake. You know, they kind of realized everybody, you know, says dumb things when they're younger, and, you know, they made a mistake. Listen, they got the right guy in the band now. Robert Trujillo is the guy, but Jason got a raw deal. You know, they should have let him do his thing, because now, I don't know if you saw Kirk Hammett's putting out a solo album.
Yeah,
that would have never been allowed years ago.
No, I think they've mellowed.
Because those guys, I mean, Lars, to my knowledge, Lars has never been a guest drummer with anybody. He's never just popped in and been on any track. And I don't really think James has done much of that. So they've been weird. And they just play with each other.
Which, you know, when you think about that, doing that occasionally, what are you going to do? You're going to meet new people. You're going to learn different ideas. You're going to learn how their process works, and you can bring it back home to your process. So when you play in that bubble, you know, that's tough, man. You want to get out and expand a little bit. I mean, you have to be Dave Grohl, play with every band that walks the earth, but occasionally step out and kind of maybe learn a few things. It seems like that would be the right thing to do. I don't know. Liam Gallagher, that's fucking awesome, dude. Like, I got to go back down the Oasis road because I was into him for a long time. And then I kind of walked away. I'm like, all these guys do is fight. Who gives a shit? They're not going to do anything ever. So
it's pretty great. And I got to be honest with you. I like the Noel stuff better. Yeah. I started getting into the Noel Gallagher and his High Flying Birds. It's good. It's good. And I like his voice better than Liam's. I do. I like Noel Gallagher's voice better.
See, he would have called you a cunt right there if you said that in the interview.
Yeah, I maybe could have. Yeah, I didn't want to. I didn't want to do that.
That's bad. It's a bad look, Rod.
Go ahead. Final thoughts.
I went out. You know, obviously we've had a little situation with this COVID deal here the last couple of years. So I've treated it as stay home, be safe, be cool, all that good stuff, right? Me and the wife haven't gone out in a long time. I mean, we've not done much. Now Mardi Gras, we started to open up we're getting out. Mardi Gras was great. We went out. We had a blast on the streets outside. So last Saturday night, my wife and I, we went and got fancy as shit, bro. We went to the ballet. Okay. I went to the ballet. I'm super sensitive in this podcast. I got to be honest, man. Between the U2 songs and the ballet, I realized I'm putting myself in a corner here.
When you get out of the shower, I mean, I don't know, maybe you're just taking baths now.
They're still there.
Okay, so you're still taking showers? Okay. So when you get out of the shower,
I still stand.
Do you put the towel, when you get out of the shower, do you put the towel, does it start underneath your arms or does it go around your waist?
I wrap it around my head to keep my hair dry first.
Gotcha. Okay, sure.
Yeah. Anyway, well, here's why I say that. My wife used to dance when she was younger. She was very good and she's into it. And, you know, like, look, I'm not going to tell anyone what they got to do, but occasionally, you know, as a dude, we forget women don't like monster trucks that much. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool with me and my son. We're like, yeah, or we're going to a basketball game. Yeah, the lady likes to go and do her own kind of thing once in a while. So we finally went and it was great. I mean, to just be out and see other people again. We keep saying that now. It's like to see other people. And then this Friday, there's another event I'm going to. And then, you know, we got all these concerts coming up, and it's like, it just feels, I don't know. I appreciate it a lot more. And I think we've talked about that a little bit before, but it just feels bigger and better and brighter. And just like, you might as well crank up Beautiful Day every time I'm walking around outside and I see people. I'm like, I want to shake everybody's hand like I'm running for office. I'm like, hey man, how you been? Hey, what's going on, dude? Hey, how are you? Hey, good to see you. Looking great, friend. You know, like I'm skipping down the street, and it's just, it feels good, man. It does feel good to be out. So I'm hoping, like, for well, as we record this tomorrow, it'll be a game changer for you. You'll be out there. You'll be like, holy shit, this is why we do what we do. You're out there meeting listeners at the St. Patrick's Day thing. You're a human being again, man. You're just doing that thing. So hopefully we can keep moving forward through all this shit. As long as, you know, the Russians don't get us, we'll be fine.
No doubt.
Jesus Christ. So it's just getting out has been nice. And I know a lot of people have already been going out and doing all that shit, and that's fine. But for me, I've just taken a different angle to it. And man, I tell you, I look at everything. I look at everybody a little differently now. I just got a bigger smile on my face. I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Hey, good to see you. Awesome. Let's have fun. So that's where I'm kind of at. So.
Well, I'm going to get about 4 hours of sleep, and then boom, people are going to be barfing green beer and green ice cold milk. That's where I'm headed.
So let me just put this in perspective. Liam Gallagher is in a hard drive in your pocket right now. But
right here.
Barfing people is way more important than me listening to the Liam Gallagher thing.
It is. Yeah. I probably won't have this ready to go until Monday now that I think about it. So
I kind of agree
spring
with
break
you.
Here. Nobody's listening. It's a mess. It's a bad
right
timing
now.
thing. He moved the interview on me. So yeah, I did it Monday.
That's awesome.
I did it Monday, and he's still sitting on that little mini hard drive.
Dude, remember back in the day when we first started out, if you interviewed like the bass player from like Matchbox 20, it was like the greatest day of your life.
Yeah. I just got Liam Gallagher on a jump drive.
You're pushing Liam Gallagher for barfing milk drinkers.
Yeah. I didn't even know if it was in my pocket. I had to look. It's like, oh yeah, Liam's still there. Great. He's in my pocket. Great.
Hey, you're going to talk to the trumpet player from Cake. Really? Holy shit. Awesome.
Yeah. Afternoon drive. Stop the presses. Put them on.
Now you don't even give a shit. It's like, I got people that got to fucking fill their face with the marshmallows.
Peeps, baby.
We're going peeping and barfing tomorrow. All right. Well, good luck,
right, guys. Thank you for listening. Everybody have a great St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
You know, you might be out of practice. We all are. It's been a couple of years since we've done it. So again, everybody ease into it, man. But I can't wait to do it tomorrow. So we'll have lots of pictures up online for sure.
Awesome.
All right. That's it.
Wait.
Let's go. It's time. Put on play pants.
Find us wherever you listen to podcasts. See us on our YouTube channel and follow our social media pages at PlayPantsPod.